You watch Michael Schofield map every pipe, every guard rotation, and every structural weakness of Fox River onto his own skin, and it is easy to believe the entire escape lived or died on pure genius. But the real math of the show is colder than that. A perfect plan with one unreliable man inside it is just an expensive way to get everyone killed. When the walls close in, when the system turns the heat all the way up, strategy alone does not hold. Someone has to refuse to break. Someone has to become the immovable point everything else leans on. That someone was never the smartest man in the room. It was Fernando Sucre. Most people walk away from Prison Break talking about the tattoo, the blueprints, the impossible timing. Almost no one talks about the man who repeatedly chose silence, pain, and personal destruction over the easy out. Yet without those choices, none of the rest matters. This is every time Sucre proved that loyalty is not a soft virtue. It is the hardest operational skill in the entire series, and it explains everything that actually kept them alive. We are going to walk through the moments where the pressure was highest, the moments where any normal man would have folded, and watch what Sucre did instead. From the early days inside Fox River to the open grave outside Sona, the pattern never changes. In the beginning, Michael needs a cellmate who will not panic the first time a guard looks too hard at the wall behind the toilet. Sucre is not eager. He wants to do his time quiet, get back to Maracruz, and leave the whole place behind. Then Bellic tears through the cell and finds the phone, one piece of contraband that can end the entire plan before it starts. Sucre does not point. He does not negotiate. He does not even hesitate. He takes the full weight of it, knowing it means the SHU, knowing it means losing the only visits that still make the days bearable. He absorbs the hit so the blueprint stays hidden. What makes that moment so wild is how little he actually owed Michael at that stage. He had no guarantee the plan would work. He did not even fully understand the scale of it yet. He only understood one rule. Once you share a cell and a secret with another man, your survival is already tied together. Throwing Michael under the bus might have bought him a few weeks of easier time. It would also have branded him permanently as the kind of man who folds. Sucre chose the harder label. Under sudden pressure, his default was not deflection. It was containment. He kept the damage local so the larger structure could keep standing. That same silence only gets tested harder once they lock him away. Alone in the dark, stripped of every comfort, Bellic starts working on him the way only a man who understands weakness can. Freedom, Maracruz, a future that still feels possible if he just says one name. The offer is clean. The pain is real. Sucre sits in that isolation and chooses total silence anyway. What makes this stretch so wild is how quickly the human mind starts building excuses when everything else is taken away. An ordinary man would have told himself Michael put him there, that he owed nothing, that protecting his own life and the woman waiting for him was the only rational move. Sucre refuses the rationalization. He treats the offer like what it really is, a permanent trade of his word for temporary relief. Isolation is designed to break people. Sucre turns the isolation into proof that his word does not bend just because the room gets smaller and the threats get louder. Then the walls finally come down and the real chaos begins. Helicopters, dogs, state police, federal agents. Men who looked solid inside the prison start unraveling the second the structure is gone. Teabag hunts opportunity. Tweener freezes. C-Note fights the pull of family. Through every field, every alley, every high-speed decision, Sucre stays exactly where Michael needs him. At his flank, executing without debate, without ego, without demanding to understand the full picture mid-crisis. What makes that phase so wild is how rare that kind of reliability actually is when the plan stops being theoretical. Genius can calculate response times down to the second. It still needs someone who will not freeze when those seconds run out. Sucre never audits the decisions in real time. He never tries to take the wheel out of panic. He simply removes friction. When something needs to be done, it gets done. That single trait gives Michael the one resource he cannot create for himself, full cognitive bandwidth. He does not have to watch his own people. Every ounce of focus can stay on the external threat. But the purest test does not happen in Illinois. It happens in the dirt outside Sona. Sucre is already free of the original debt. He is outside. His only real goal is still Maracruz. The men holding him know exactly what he is worth. They beat him. They stage the execution. They put him in front of an open grave and a shovel and make the transaction simple. Give us Schofield and you walk away. Sucre looks at the hole in the ground and still refuses. What makes that moment so wild is that by every practical measure he was done. He had already paid more than most men ever would. The plan no longer needed him. His silence now actively threatened the one thing he wanted most. Yet he still treated his word as non-negotiable. Loyalty that only exists when it is safe or convenient is not loyalty. It is self-interest wearing a better costume. When Sucre chooses the grave over the easy exit, he proves the difference in the clearest possible terms. Look across the entire run of the show and the pattern holds. Brilliant minds surround Michael. Dangerous men, calculating men, men who can outthink systems. Yet every time the structure starts to crack, the thing that keeps it from collapsing completely is the same quiet refusal from the same man. Sucre does not need to be the architect. He only needs to be the part that does not fail when everything else is failing. We live in a culture that worships the blueprint and undervalues the person who will still be standing when the blueprint burns. Everyone wants to be the strategist. Far fewer people want to be the one who can be trusted with the weight of the strategy when the heat is real. Michael Schofield is the brain of the escape. Fernando Sucre is the spine. Without the spine, the brain is just another prisoner with pretty drawings on his skin. The practical line is clean. We are not celebrating the crimes that put any of these men in prison. We are not romanticizing the violence or the lawlessness. We are looking at one measurable trait under extreme pressure: the ability to keep your word when keeping it costs you. Real loyalty is not blind obedience. It is the disciplined decision to remain reliable even when reliability becomes expensive. If you fold the moment the inconvenience hits, no one of real capability will ever hand you anything that matters. The next time the easy exit appears, the next time shifting the weight onto someone else looks like the smart play, remember the man standing over an open grave in Panama who still chose silence. Strategy matters. Vision matters. Intellect matters. But when the fire takes all of that away, character is the only thing left. Stop being the variable that cracks. Build a word that does not bend. Become the anchor the entire structure can lean on when everything else starts to fall apart. Michael drew the master plan. Sucre's unbroken word was the foundation that kept any of them alive long enough for the plan to matter. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And do not forget to check out this video right here. It is a banger, I promise you. Thank you all so much for watching and commenting. Have a good one.